welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about David Cronenberg's Videodrome, and its brand new 4K Blu-ray that just came out from Criterion. So Videodrome originally came out 40 years ago in 1983. It was produced up in Canada, where David Cronenberg is from. It stars James Woods in the lead role as a TV network executive. He runs a real sleazy, low-budget network that really puts out something, as he describes, some place that people can go where they can't get this anywhere else. And basically what that means is like softcore porn, maybe some violence, really attracting certain types of people. But he really is looking for the next big thing, and one day he discovers Videodrome. This real smut, video nasty type of stuff that's being transmitted from what he thinks is Malaysia, but it turns out to be Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And you see real violence, and he thinks it's all acting. He just wants to know how, but it looks like murder and overly sexualized images, and he wants to know what the hell this is, but he also thinks that this could be the next big thing. And really, that's what's driving James Woods' character in this movie, and it's a real tale of ambition. Don't let your ambition get the better of you, because you never know what could happen. It might actually end up being worse than what you think. Yes, things might seem really good now, and you want to improve on it, you want to make it better. You never know, you could end up discovering Videodrome, and that could end up ruining your entire life, and that's exactly what happens to James Woods' character, because he discovers a huge conspiracy when he finds what Videodrome really is. Because it's a David Cronenberg film, and he's the king of body horror, we get some really crazy imagery. Probably some of the most famous stuff, if you ever seen him putting that Betamax tape into his stomach, or the gun morphing with his hand, that's all from this movie. And really, the message and the theme of this movie is actually very fascinating. Probably more fascinating than the actual film itself as you're watching it. The film is entertaining enough, but just knowing the themes that they were going for in 1983 is about television and the rise of VHS and Betamax, and how that's just going to consume all of us, desensitize all of us as we become more and more desensitized to violence, gore, sex, religion, everything like that. Basically stuff that we're talking about now in 2023 with the internet, social media, cell phones. Back then we were just really worried about TV. That's how fast technology has moved in our world. In the last 100 years, not only did we see the rise of television, but the rise of social media, movies, video games. All of that stuff has helped to desensitize us, and we were trying to talk about that in 1983, but that was really just a stopgap to where we got now, but we couldn't have foreseen that then. We were still talking about how dangerous that is, and how dangerous of a game that we are playing, and I just think that the message of this movie still holds up so well to this very day. Obviously, the technology in this movie doesn't hold up that well. The body effects, though, hold up fantastically, and that's where you get David Cronenberg. He is the king of body horror. He's probably most known for the film The Fly, which has some of the most amazing practical effects that you'll ever see on film. He also did one of my personal favorite films, Dead Ringers, which deals a little bit less with body horror, but definitely has that feeling and tone that David Cronenberg goes for, which is to get under your skin and just make you feel nasty and gross and like you need a shower. That's what he usually goes for in his films. Yeah, he has some films that don't go for that, like movies like The Dead Zone or A History of Violence, but he's come back to his body horror ways in the last few films. And even his son, Brendan Cronenberg, it must run in the genes, because he's made such great films as Possessor and Infinity Pool, which also are body horror films. So whatever they're doing and whatever the way their minds work in this family, it really leads to some fantastic art. And James Woods does a great job in the lead of this movie. James Woods is not usually one of my favorite actors, but he plays a certain role so well. A sleazy scumbag is perfect for him.
Listen, I'd really like to take you out to dinner tonight.
Professor.
But in this movie, we kind of care a little bit more about him. We just know that he's just overly ambitious, and he's going to ruin himself by being the way that he is. But he really wants to be the next big thing in TV, and he's just out there searching for it. He just uncovers the wrong thing. And one thing I want to point out, his apartment in this movie is just absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite movie apartments. It's very 80s, but I just love the 80s aesthetic. I mean, I love the whole aesthetic of this film. It's shot up in Canada, and I really think it gives it this small town feel. Everything kind of feels real and lived in and natural. It doesn't feel like they're on sets. It doesn't feel like it's a very clean world. The world itself, the TV network that he works at, all that stuff feels just dirty and gross and just like a real 1983 building would feel. And I really think that David Cronenberg captured that perfectly. This movie, unfortunately, was a box office bomb. He got $5.7 million, I think, to make it. It only made $2.3 million at the box office. Probably very ahead of its time, and body horror is a real hard sell for a lot of people. But it works so well in this film, and this film itself has actually become a cult classic, and it usually ranks pretty high on David Cronenberg's best films list. And for me personally, this would be a top 5 David Cronenberg film. It doesn't reach the highs for me like The Fly, or in my personal favorite, like I said, Dead Ringers, but it's still probably one of his best films, and it definitely has one of the best messages in any of his films. And if you haven't seen Videodrome, you're doing yourself a disservice by not seeing it, because it is very enjoyable. Not the most enjoyable film, and it is definitely very, very dark, and some of the violence and gore and some of the overly sexualized scenes might be a little rough for some people, but if you're into these type of films and you know who David Cronenberg is, this is definitely one you should check out. But before we dive into the 4K Blu-ray review from Criterion, if you guys like this channel and you want to see more 4K Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, lists, podcasts, and some shorts, we try and do them all here on the channel, and nothing would help this channel out more than just by you simply liking this video and subscribing to the channel.
Get the Videodrome! Long live the new flesh!
Well, here it is, Videodrome on 4K Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection. And this is where patience was a virtue for me, because I have had the regular Criterion Blu-ray for Videodrome in my cart for years. I never pulled the trigger on it, and then it made it a lot easier not to pull the trigger on it when Arrow Video came out with their new 4K Blu-ray earlier this year. So when that got announced, I had a feeling that this was going to get announced as well, and sure enough it did, and now we just got it released this October. Now the Arrow Video 4K and this 4K Blu-ray, I'm not 100% sure if they're the same scan. Both of them are listed as being overseen by David Cronenberg. I can't imagine him overseeing two different scans of the same film. And from what I've heard about the Arrow Video 4K, it's absolutely gorgeous. And after watching the new Criterion 4K Blu-ray, I can also agree it's absolutely gorgeous from a visual standpoint. But before we dive into that, let's look at the packaging. It's pretty much the same packaging that you had on the last Blu-ray. I'm not sure if the original Blu-ray had a digibook or not, or if it just had the underneath artwork. But if you slide this off, you go underneath, and it looks like an old Betamax tape, the one that goes right in the James Woods stomach, which I absolutely love in the movie, by the way. Great effects. I can go on and on about them. But I love how this just ties into the actual film. Whenever a studio does that, it gives us like artwork that ties into the movie itself, really speaking to the fan, the collector out there. I'm always going to praise that. Criterion is one of the kings of that, so absolutely love what they did here. You come inside, some really nice paperwork, good paper stock as always from Criterion. It's a 2-disc set. You get one 4K and one Blu-ray, and that Blu-ray is exactly the same Blu-ray that was previously released by the Criterion Collection. And Criterion has been releasing Videodrome on previous releases such as DVD, then Blu-ray, and now in 4K Blu-ray for a while. I believe this is spine number 248 in their collection. So all the extras that Criterion made specifically for their original DVD are all included on here. Some of these extras do carry over to the Arrow release, and I think Arrow has some of their own extras as well. This one doesn't have a making-of documentary per se. There is an old making-of documentary from 1982 when they were actually on the set. You also get a bunch of trailers. You get a short film from 2000 by David Cronenberg. You get a documentary about the making of the special effects in this movie. Plenty of interviews, 2 commentary tracks. You don't get David Cronenberg and James Woods together, but you get 2 commentary tracks that feature the two of them. So there is plenty of extras, and that's what you go to the Criterion Collection for, is the extras. But you also want to see a visual upgrade. And now Criterion was one of the last ones to get on board with 4K Blu-ray. I believe they've only been doing it now about 2 years. It'll be in November. Their first releases came out in November of 2021. But they really have mastered it. Diving right into the visuals, this is gorgeous. And it is an upgrade over the previously released Blu-ray, which I actually think the previously released Blu-ray is really good. They actually do a great job with Blu-rays. And that was the thing with Criterion. That's why they didn't want to jump to 4K so fast, is because they felt like their in-house transfers all came out really, really good. Now, they are taking transfers from other people. That's why I'm not too sure if Arrow Video is the ones who actually did the transfer on this, or if Criterion did and they shared it just because Criterion has the American rights while Arrow Video has the UK rights. Not 100% sure of that, but what I am sure of is that this 4K transfer is absolutely gorgeous. You get HDR10 and Dolby Vision. Now, it is an old film. It's made to look gritty and dirty on purpose. That was the look that they were going for. I mean, we're talking about a TV station in this movie that puts out video nasties and smut films. So you want the actual film itself to look pretty dirty and nasty. So the 4K, you don't want it to look like the cleanest thing you've ever seen. And I think they did a great job of capturing that. The biggest upgrade that I noticed is the colors. The colors are all more full now, more dynamic. You know, they just look more, I guess, dense is the way to put it. Like, everything just kind of grabs your eye more compared to the Blu-ray. The skin looks a lot more natural and more realistic than it does on the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray might look a little bit flat, but the Blu-ray itself is still not bad, but the 4K just takes it to the next level. I compared the Dolby Vision and the HDR10, and they were very comparable. I actually thought, in my opinion, the HDR10 did a little bit more work than the Dolby Vision does. I thought the Dolby Vision was really good, hitting those deep blacks and, again, making the colors look more vivid and dynamic. But I really think the HDR10 HDR10 was really, really good. I haven't really talked about what I use to test all my stuff here too much on the channel, but in my living room I have an LG C2 and a Sony X800 4K Blu-ray player, but here in my office, which you guys can see right behind me, I have an LG C1, and I'll test the disc on my Xbox Series X to see how that translates, and I really thought that the Xbox Series X did a great job. Now, you're not going to get Dolby Vision on the Xbox Series X. They only stream in Dolby Vision, but they do not allow discs to play in Dolby Vision, so it's only going to work on HDR10. But really, on the Xbox Series X, Videodrome looked amazing on 4K Blu-ray. One of the best I've ever seen on the Xbox Series X. So the Xbox Series X is really not a bad 4K player, so if you're one of those people that feels a little bit worried and they can't afford a designated 4K player and you can only buy one, whether it be a PS5 or a Series X, I can actually tell you that the Series X is a pretty good 4K player, and obviously you get a lot more for your buck with that one in comparison to a designated 4K player. I'll always recommend a designated 4K player just because you're going to get the Dolby Vision and you're only using it for that, and you're not going to overwhelm the console like you will with a Series X. But the Series X is a great alternative, and I love my Series X as far as a 4K Blu-ray player, and playing Videodrome on that, it really looked absolutely gorgeous. And now, as far as the audio goes, you have absolutely no choice. I'm not too sure if the Arrow Video version has other choices, but this is the same audio track that was on the previous Blu-ray, which is an LPCM mono track. It's nothing special, but everything does come in crisp and clear. Nothing to worry about. I would love a 5.1. Obviously, I didn't expect a Dolby Atmos track or a DTS-X track, but a little bit of an upgrade would have been appreciated. That's my biggest complaint, is the audio, but the audio is crisp and clear. And again, what they're going for with this movie is to look and sound gritty and dirty like those old Betamax tapes, like those old VHS tapes. And it would have done the film itself a disservice if we had it looking like pristine, like a 2023 film. That's not what this looks like, and that's not what it's supposed to look like. So if you turn this 4K on and you're like, it doesn't look like something I was expecting, I still think it's absolutely gorgeous as far as the visuals go. I think they've matched the film perfectly. I'm glad that it's not like something like, I love True Romance, but I felt like True Romance, they cleaned it up almost a little bit too much. They modernized it just a little bit too much, to the point where it changed my viewing of the film a little bit. I still really love that 4K Blu-ray. I love what they did. I appreciate it so much, but sometimes when something looks a little bit too good, it can kind of change your perception of the film. That happens a lot because, you know, the way we came to these movies, especially a movie like Videodrome, the first time I saw this movie was on VHS, so I've seen this movie look absolutely awful, but this 4K looks absolutely gorgeous while still retaining how I remember this film looking. So I can absolutely recommend this Criterion 4K Blu-ray. I would love to compare it to the Arrow Video 4K, but unfortunately I don't have it with me, so I can't do that. But I can highly recommend this Criterion 4K Blu-ray. It'll probably be on sale next month in the Criterion sale, because Criterion usually allows all their new releases and sometimes pre-orders in their sale. So if you want to wait for that, I can definitely recommend it. But right now they're charging $35, and for what they give you in this package, I can recommend it, especially if you're a fan of David Cronenberg and Videodrome. If I was going to give this film a score of 1 to 10, including its visuals, audio, extras, and the film itself, and its packaging, I would give it a very solid 9 out of 10. And if you guys actually want to pick this up through my Amazon affiliate link, I will leave that in the description below. It doesn't cost you any extra money, and it does really help this channel out. And if you want to continue to support this channel, nothing supports us more than by you just simply liking this video, subscribing to the channel, getting out in those streets, and telling your friends about us. We'll be seeing you around.